Hey guys, welcome back to Raid Shadow Legends. In today's video, I want to talk about Hydra and building your first Hydra team. Now, the team that I'm using here is completely free. If you use my download link, which gives us the Mausoleum Mage, the Fayne, Tagoar, and Deacon Armstrong, you use the code Supreme6 to get your Supreme Gallic. And then we've got old mate here whose name always leaves me, but he is the login champion on your second 7 days. So after 14 days, you get Jizo, and he is my team currently because of the Provoke. And I'll talk more about this in a second, but we are currently on the just entered day 17 of this free-to-play account, and I want to talk about, and this isn't going to be like a full Hydra guide for trying to maximize all damage. This is more focused at newer players trying to get, maybe it's just the first chest. If we go over here, I've been experimenting with this team, and you can see that the best damage I've gotten so far is 3.87 million, which gets us into the range of the second chest, but I'm trying to get into like the third or the fourth chest. Now, and that's why I want to talk specifically about newer accounts, because we're not worried as much about decapitation effects and stuff like that. We're not going to be worried about countering every effect on every Hydra because we don't have the roster. But once again, when I made my download link with these champions, the idea was that they would get us through the dungeon, stage 20, decent in Nightmare Clan Boss, but they also work incredibly well into the Hydra for an entry-level team. So I'm going to look at this rotation. I will quickly touch on the other heads as well, and some of the counters to it, and why I am running Jizo in this team as well. Then we will go through a general, as we have always been doing, update on this account for day 17. Now, let's take a look at this one here, because it's one of those things, when you jump into Hydra, you kind of got to jump into it. You can retry. You don't have to, it's not like the Demon Lord where you've got to lock in your scores. I actually, even on the last rotation last week, managed to get the bottom chest on this as well. But just keep in mind, the heads do change every rotation. Now, if we take a look at it over here, once again, 1.67 is going to get you the lowest one. The first suggestion I have is don't attack it till the end of the week if you are a new player. If you're an advanced player, you know, maybe you're not getting as much progression through a week, so you can attack it at the start of the week. For me, for Hydra and also for Chimera, I try and do them towards the end of the week when my account is a bit more stacked. For instance, I just made my Mausoleum Mage 6-star today, so, you know, we're going to keep getting buffs to our account along the way. So let's jump into this one. I think the simplest way is to jump into it and show you guys, but the first thing that I do want to do is just quickly look at the different heads. So the Hydra, you're going to start with 4 heads. If you decapitate one, you can get another one rotating through. Now, we have the Head of Decay. Now, this one is going to attack one enemy and put the heal reduction. That's not the big thing this guy does. The big thing about this guy is that he removes all debuffs from all heads, then fills the turn meter of all heads by 30%. This is really bad because two of the most important debuffs to have in this boss fight is going to be block buffs, because there is a lot of different buffs that different heads get. So just having block buffs is huge, and also having burn, AoE burn, because AoE burn just provides so much damage. It's where you're getting all of the damage in this one, and that's why Supreme Gallic is absolutely fantastic for this. If you have an Uugo is great for the buff block, but once again, Supreme Gallic is just cater made for this sort of stuff, and the guy is an absolute workhorse for these new accounts. Moving on past that one, and like I said, so this one, because it's got the removes debuffs, the best way to counter that is to go ahead and taunt it, and that's why I got Jizo in here. Dude is not even leveled or anything. I just put some gear that was on my armature on him, and you can see he has the Provoke with an 80% chance without skill ups, and you can just retry till you get this to land. So pretty easy, and like eventually we're not going to keep taunting the boss throughout the battle because this guy is not leveled up. Like, he's not tanky enough to live, but he gets the first taunt, and that's at least enough to get us to avoid a little bit of the early pressure in the battle. So that's what he is there for, purely for that taunt. If you have better taunting options, go ahead and use them. But like I said, this is a free option that I got, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Now, if we go through the next couple of heads on this rotation, Head of Blight, this one is the poison head. Honestly, for this one, just bring cleansing and immunity. If you can time an immunity, fantastic. If you can cleanse it, perfect. Mausoleum Mage, perfect for it. We've got the immunity, we've got the cleansing. That is pretty much what he is here for. Really fantastic. Cleansing and immunity is also just great all around in Hydra as well. Moving on past that, we have the next head, which is the Head of Suffering. It puts the weaken debuff. If you have Strengthen, you won't get it. So Strengthen is nice, but this is too much for me to try and squeeze into my team at this stage of the game. So basically with this guy, I ain't too stressed. I just kind of ignore this guy and I'm just like, listen, I'm going to deal with it. I'm not going to try and counter his stuff. We'll just live with it and move on. That's pretty much where I'm at. Like I said, this is not meant to be how to counter every head. This is just entry level. Some you can just sort of let them go, and then others you've really got to pay attention to. So this one here, the Head of Wrath. Head of Wrath is very, very important. Now, this guy has his vengeance stacks. You'll see when we attack into him, each time he takes a hit, whether it be a tick of burn damage that comes from another head, or whether it be if you've got a multi-hitter, if you hit him twice, it's going to give him 2 stacks. Once he gets to 15 stacks, he's going to nuke your field. That is very bad. Eventually, you're going to proc this, so you've just got to learn to deal with it and move on. He does have an attack buff on himself, which is once again why we want that buff block, so that we can stop him getting that attack buff so his nuke does less. I've actually adjusted my team from the previous one that you saw with my score to put Fayne in here, trying to land the attack break on that head as well to mitigate the damage, because you don't want to be hitting it willy-nilly without anything that's actually effective to your strategy, but in the end of the day, it is going to nuke you pretty hard with that Head of Wrath. As we move on to a couple other heads, Head of Torment, this is the Fearing Head. This one's really annoying. Basically, it has a passive where when attacked by enemies not under Perfect Veil, so if you have Perfect Veil, perfect. If you have something like the Wreck to Drath from the beginner pass, great, you can use that. But basically, you don't want to be attacking this thing at all unless you absolutely need to with an AoE, or if you're under Perfect Veil. That's the big gist with that one. And then the Head of Mischief is one that's going to steal all buffs from the target and spread them to the other heads. Once again, another big reason for having the buff block. That's the basics around the heads and the things you really need to focus on. So, like I said, the big things when you're just entry level coming into this is you want AoE HP burn for damage, otherwise you probably won't reach the damage threshold. So Supreme Gallic, fantastic for that if you're on a new account using one of my links and using the Supreme Gallic. Otherwise, you've got things like Mordecai, you've got Geo, there's a bunch of others, but like Gallic is just so great for new accounts to get into. And then you want buff blocker, which is once again Supreme Gallic coming in super clutch with that. Otherwise, you can use something like an Uugo as well, because you really want that to be AoE. You can use some cheese strategies where you use single targets and you use debuff spreads, but it's not as reliable. The next thing you really, really want is cleansing. So obviously I've got my Mausoleum Mage for immunity in cleansing. You want sustain, that is my Tagoar. Deacon is in here for the defense break, the leech, and also the gauge boosting. He's not the best at this. Uugo would be a better one in this slot. But once again, Deacon is so strong for the rest of the game leading up to this. He still works really well here. He gives us a leader skill as well, which is fantastic. And then in this one, purely because we do have the Head of Decay in this one, because we got the Head of Decay, which removes, we are putting the Jizo in here. If the Head of Decay wasn't in here, we can take him out perfectly fine. He's only in there for the situational usage. So now, hopefully that explains the general gist of what we're looking at for entry-level teams. Okay, we're on take 3 for this because I keep missing my taunt. We're going to jump in and we're going to go through the process. Once again, the great thing about this is you can just free regroup and you don't have to lock in your scores. So let's jump in. This time, I'll go through everything and hopefully it all pans out not too bad. And what you really want to focus on is testing this a few times, because the different speed levels, like if you have gauge boosting, speed buffs, and all those sorts of things, it can really change the way, like what you want to do is never going to be set. It's going to depend on the speed of your units and stuff like that. So I've played through this a few times, so I know what a sort of optimal speed, like when to use my boosts and my immunities and stuff like that. So I'm going to just talk you guys through it. I'm going to start off with my speed buff. Let's just get that up. That's perfectly fine. Now we're going to go ahead and get this. Hopefully we can get, you can see this head in the middle. It's not above 50% turn gauge. So unfortunately it won't get the speed slow. Hopefully we can get across the board AoE burn and buff block. So AoE burn, buff block, perfect. We missed a speed slow on the one on the left. That's the only thing we missed. I'm pretty cool with it. Now, I'm not going to use my gauge boost here over on my Deacon because I don't need to use it just yet. You can see we landed 3 defense breaks. Not too bad. Now we're just going to go in and use a basic attack here. I don't want to use my immunity just yet. So I'm just going to tap that into there because I have advantage. Now I'm going to use this one over on the head on the right. Now the head on the right, you can see it's at 3 stacks. Once that gets to 15, he nukes us bloody hard. So I want to land the attack break on him. That's what I really want to get here. You can see we didn't get any poisons, but we got the attack break. And that's the important thing. Now Jizo here is going to use his purpose, which is, this is why I'm on my 3rd recording because he keeps missing it. Let's get the taunt on this head on the left because this is the guy that cleanses, and we don't want him to cleanse, especially for this first turn. Beautiful. We landed the taunt. Okay, so now he has to use a basic attack, which is perfectly fine. I don't want to use my revive yet. I want to keep that in my back pocket. So we're just going to go ahead over here. and swing in. Now we're going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to focus my damage in on this left head so that it will end up putting its shield on itself, and then I can focus down the right one. That's my game plan, but you know, we'll see how it pans out. This is all theory. This is me still experimenting with my runs. You can see the head on the right is at 12 stacks. Once that bad boy gets to 15, he's attacking. Keeping in mind, if any of the other heads get burn damage that ticks on him, he will get a stack. So what we're going to do is here, we're going to basic attack, not gauge boost. The reason being, if I basic attack, it should be my Mausoleum Mage who moves next, and then I can use my immunity and defense buff, and then this guy on the right should attack, which has a taunt, and I should immune it on everyone. If I gauge boost here, things like my Tagoar and my Fayne will move before that head, and they will actually get taunted. So I'm just going to go ahead, and this is where just experimenting helps you find these things out. So you can see now my Mausoleum Mage, we use our immunity and defense buff, and that head goes ahead and uses his taunt, but it does absolutely nothing. So this guy over here is still taunted, and hopefully old mate Jizo can survive this other head's attack, which I'm not sure if he can. You know, I'm going to go all in here with the Fayne. And we're just going to put a little bit in that. I don't want to pre-shield. I want to keep that for a revive. So I'm just going to use the basic attack here. Okay, I'm going to put a shield on himself with his skill. Okay, he's dead, unfortunately. And now the other head is going to go ahead and use his cleanse. So the other head is going to cleanse. I'm going to basic attack and hope that he outspeeds, because I can't see on gauge, but you can see he's very close to full, and my Supreme Gallic is close to full. I don't know who is moving first. I hope it's that head so he can cleanse them, and then I can put my debuffs back on with my Gallic. That's why I'm not going to use my gauge boost here. Let's just see how the timing works. Unfortunately, my Gallic is not off cooldown anyway, so that's not too bad for me. Let's go ahead and just tap you. Get a little bit of damage in. Okay, so he's cleansing all those debuffs, which kind of sucks for us right now. And old mate here is about to use the poisons, which is going to be okay, because then we can cleanse with our Mausoleum Mage. So I'm just going to tap him. I'm going to speed buff here and heal, because I just want to get a little bit healthier and get that speed buff rolling. There's the debuffs. Okay, so now those debuffs are on. Let's go here. Boom, boom. Okay, so now we're going to boost. This is where I think we're pretty safe to boost up. This should make our Gallic move before anyone else. We can get the Death Break on, hopefully. 3 defense breaks. Now we go AoE burn and buff block on everyone, and 3 speed slows. Honestly, pretty good result. Now we can revive. We're in a pretty awkward situation here. Hopefully we live a little bit longer. So you can see the shield actually went on the second head. Okay, so the shield is on the second head, which means now I kind of want to target the right head, but I don't think we're going to kill it in time, so I might target the left head. So let's see. And you can see we're already in range of the bottom chest. Now, this is where we start getting into very hairy territory. We still have speed buff, so we should actually beat them to the punch once we cleanse with our Mausoleum Mage. Our Mausoleum Mage dying before is what really hurt us, so we can go do that. Yeah, dude, if he procced his extra turn on the gear set, it would have been huge. Let's do that, yes. So now we can do this. And then we can get a heal up as well. Now, every time you heal, because I can't remember which head, it is going to be destroying your max HP for at the cost of healing. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. But let's go head here, because if we can actually manage to kill one of these heads, it would be pretty nice. So, now we get to buff immunity. This one does have, what's your basic attack? 3. Yeah, I'm going to just immune this, because then we can immune those poisons. I don't know if Gallic moves before him. No, he doesn't, which is perfect. So we get immunity for all those poisons. Once again, just lucking out on a little bit of this timing as well. Okay. Once again, we got the attack break back up, which I'm going to put on this guy over here. I think we're pretty much boned, because I don't think my Tagoar is going to survive too long. But I am just going to go ahead and put this attack break over here. Just because I know he is eventually going to attack me. And it's going to hurt. So we may as well sort of preempt it a little bit. Let's take a look here. So if I use my Death Break, it means he's going to get to 13. This head moves, he gets to 14. This head moves, he gets to 15. I think I'm actually going to wait on getting him, because I really want my Tagoar to take an attack. So we're just going to go ahead and put the leech, refresh the leech over here. Cool. Gonna do that. Proc an extra turn. Damn. We can just basic attack over here. Now, does Tagoar have his revive and shield back? No, he doesn't. So we're just going to have to do this. Okay, so he's at 13. He's at 13. Okay, let's go here again. If we could kill this head, it would be super nice. I'm pretty sure this head heals on decapitation. Okay, so he procced. We're still just alive, though. We are still just alive and kicking. So let's see if we can get that. So we did. He's going to put a shield on himself next turn, which really does suck for me. What I might do here is Death Shred. Because if we could kill this guy, it would be huge. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do... Can we get a speed slow? It'd be super clutch to get a speed slow on him here. Because he's gonna cleanse and put the shield on himself, isn't it? Oh, this is the all heads one. That sucks. So he's gonna gauge boost as well, meaning these guys are gonna attack before me, which has the decrease attack. 3 poisons. I'm just gonna go ahead and defense buff and get the immunity up because they're all gonna attack now. No, we got gobbled up. I forgot about the gobble coming up. Yeah, so we're kind of boned there. You can see that's sort of where we are at. Once again, getting a decapitation's huge, and a little bit comes to RNG and stuff like that. But that is like a basic look at the process. Once again, Hydra, super hard to enter into, and we just have no hope here because we have no other real damage sources. After that gobble. So now you can see this is where it all just goes downhill from here. It was going pretty smooth, but now it just goes downhill. So getting a decapitation's huge. If he didn't put the shield on, you know, maybe we could have done a little bit better, but not as good as the other run I did. But still, you know, I'm cool with that result. I'm going to keep trying. Hopefully get ourselves into the top chest range. But let's see what we end up with here. All right, let's just go ahead and heal up. Heal block. Cleanse that. Okay. Yep, that kind of sucks. Yep, that kind of sucks. And yeah, when they gobble them up, you really got to kill them. But because we only got 1 damage dealer, we're kind of boned. If we proc 15 additional turns, we might get it. And there you go. So that's our damage at 2.68. Not as good as the 3.87 I got before, but I'm going to keep experimenting with this. But once again, you can just free regroup. What did I say? 2.68 or whatever it was. That would have put us into range of the novice chest, which ain't too bad. But like I said, I'm going to try and squeeze myself into the 4.44. But that is just what I wanted to look at with Hydra. I know it's not, this is how you build your team and do it exactly. Because like I said, speed, timing of things is very important in this one. There's so many different mechanics in these heads. But like I said, if you focus in on those few main things, which in this rotation, the main things that you need to focus on is taunting old mate, at least at the start, who cleanses the whole lot. If you could keep him continuously taunted, would be fantastic. But unfortunately, you know, we're doing the best with what we have, which is Jizo over here. Cleansing those debuffs, which are really annoying. Trying to immune the taunt, which is absolutely fantastic if you can do so. Attack breaking the guy with the 15 hits so that, you know, he doesn't nuke your entire team straight away. Those are the big things that you look to in this one with this rotation. Once again, on the other rotations, the dude that fears you, the head that fears you, you want to avoid tacking it or have perfect veil is what you ideally want to be looking to. There's all those different little things, but hopefully that gives you guys an idea of how you can make an entry level team into the Hydra. Now, once again, AoE burn is going to be the main source of damage. So if you don't have that, it's kind of just a massive rip. Like it's just tough. It's tough getting the damage numbers up there without that. Unless you got some of the big HP based nukers or something like that. You know, I've got a Husk. Maybe I'll build Husk and use him in my team eventually. But this was my free-to-play attempt. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Sorry it took a while, but I just wanted to really look in on my thought process on some of those battles. But let's give you guys an update for the account. Like I said, we are on day, what did I say, 17 of logins? Dude, I've forgotten already. Day 17 of login. The daily just ticked over about 2.5 hours ago. So let's just put this up so I can buy some champions later on. Now, where are we at? We managed to clear the Doom Tower on normal mode. If we go over here, boom, 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 all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Yeah, so we managed to clear the Doom Tower. Honestly, 1 void shard for clearing it. I would have rather an epic book, but hey, it is what it is. Dude, honestly, hard mode is super hard. This stage 2 was an absolute nightmare with the freeze RNG. We managed to get through it. This stage, the first wave has 2 cleanses and it kind of just bones me. I need a really good AoE stun or a stun set to get through hard mode. I think I'm really going to struggle through here, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully I can get to the first boss at least. But yeah, we're going to have to just basically see how we go, because this one's a little bit of a struggle in hard mode. We're sort of stuck over there. As I mentioned in the clan boss over here, unfortunately, this one has turned into magic. If we go to my attacks, I've used 3 and we're at 31.58. Hopefully, we can get enough damage to get ourselves the 4 key over here, which would be super clutch again to keep going on the nightmare. But yeah, the magic is probably my worst affinity to try and punch into, but hey, it is what it is. Honestly, Force won't be too good either, now that I think about it, because then he'll hit Tagoar. But hey, it is what it is. Moving on from that, Faction Wars, Undead Crypt, we've gotten past the first boss, which ain't too bad. I did abuse the, the Husk in that one to get that. And that's the only place I'm using champions that I pull, is the Faction Crypts. Like, come on, you've got to do that over there. Arena, we're still cruising through. Honestly, we've had a heap of attacks. If we go to battle log here and we go to attack, you can see 32 minutes, 33, 39. Dude, this thing, I couldn't punch through it. I thought I could. I couldn't punch through it. But yeah, you can see how many attacks we are getting over in the arena, which is absolutely fantastic. Getting way more than I did on my other account. So we already have a level 7 building in the Great Hall. Next one is to get a level 8. So we're almost at the stage of being able to unlock that level 8. Now with the Arbiter missions, if we go over here, we're waiting for tomorrow to get the Magic Keep. Then we'll skip a day, which will be Spirit. And then we'll do the Force Keep. And then we'll skip a day, and then it'll be Sunday. And then we'll do the Void Keep. And then we'll continue progressing through these things. We should be able to punch out all of this stuff. I do need to farm some Minotaur, but at the moment I am not, purely because we do have the champion training tournament going on. So if we go to this one, you can see I'm currently sitting at 4,700. I really want to max this one out. I want to get to that 12,500. I know I don't need these at the moment, but eventually that's pretty good value just to squeeze it up. Plus, I do need to make 2 more 6 stars. So I did make my Mausoleum Mage 6 star. When we look to the Arbiter missions, the first one I need to do is a Spirit, then a Magic, then a Force, then a Void. So I need to make 2 more 6 stars before I complete Arbiter missions. 1 Magic, 1 Void. So that's why I'm just grinding this out to make my food. You can see I've already got 3 4 stars to max, and then 3 3 stars to max, and I'm just slowly progressing through, leveling up my fodder and getting that done. It's twofold. It gets me tournament points, and it also gets me through that. It's also getting me the Deck of Fate points. I've already popped 2. We're on 2 in a row of greens, because you're getting artifacts, and getting artifacts is what gives you points for this. So it's kind of a great little synergy for farming. It's also getting me silver, which I need silver for these missions to go ahead and fuse the potions. So it's sort of farming fodder is just what I want to do now. Once I finish that tournament, I'm not going to try and get rank 1 or anything. I'm just going to try and complete all the rewards from it, especially get the legendary book anyway. Once I complete that, I will just go into farming Minotaur, because I do need to get my 5 champions to maxed masteries, or at least a tier 6. Once again, for those, I'm going to skip one of the, so like my Tagoar over here, we're going to skip doing the other tier 5 masteries and just go straight into the tier 6, and then he will be done. So him, I only need like, what's that, like 170, 180, whatever it is, left to get, and then he will be done. If we look to the others, Deacon's another one. You can see we got tier 4s done. Oh, not completed, because we need to fill in this tier 3. So is what it is. Mausoleum Mage over here, he's cranking along. He's getting into the reds. Fayne needs a lot of work on her, unfortunately. So those are the last 4 that I need to get done on masteries. But like I said, just focusing in on that fodder leveling at the moment, because it's just giving me pretty high value in general with all the different stuff going on in the game. As for summons, we've still got the 32 ancients and 8 voids. Just kind of waiting for something to summon on. I skipped the last summon event because I wasn't going to get anywhere of real value in it. So just kind of waiting. That's pretty much it. Just waiting to see. I got nothing to do with summons. As for souls, we've been summoning a few souls, but just nothing for the champions we want. You can see we've like had some high stars for epics and legendaries, but yeah, just not hitting the targets is the big problem. If I pull a Doom Screech, that'd be pretty handy, but that's about it. Nothing great happening in the souls over there, and that pretty much covers the account. Hoping to hit level 50 pretty soon, unlock real-time arena, so I can start getting the extra 50 energy from that. Then once you hit level 52, you unlock Cursed City, which gives you another 50 energy daily for that advanced quest. So, you know, this 50 to 52 is a really nice range to start getting some extra bonuses on your account. But yeah, that's where the account is currently at. Not too many crazy progressions except for the Mausoleum Mage getting his 6 star. But yeah, we're still in coast mode, and I'll keep you guys updated. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.